Hey, good morning, guys. Mike with Chassis Parts Online again. Today is Friday, July the 4th. Yep, I'm at the shop. Okay. So I need to get some stuff done. Working on this 56, trying to finalize these frame pieces. I got all of my measurements off the other side. Now I got to finish this side, which means fixing these holes, these jagged holes like that, and that. And those down there. So this is what I've done. Basically, I've got this tube like this. I think I showed you this in one of the other videos, but this is basically 3/4 DOM with a 120 wall, and I cleaned the hole out with that bit right there. Looks like I'm going to do that one, and then I put the bolt in it down in there like that. Then I'll hold it in there while I tack it. TIG welder, then I'll melt all that in before I cut this off and grind it flush, and then weld up any pits or anything. But let me show you that process as close as I can do with the cell phone. Okay, so I've had some people ask me, well, how did you fill those holes? Did you just weld it up and then grind it down? Not really. I mean, I wanted to get a little bit more technical with it, and basically what I did was I melted that edge. That's 3/16 thick. I just melted that. I didn't use any filler rod on this yet. I melted it down and around the edge to take up the gap. Yeah, I'm not very good at holding this camera steady, but you can see what I did there. Then the next step is adding the filler to fill all that up before I cut it off. So basically that's what it looks like. Nothing special. Yeah, I got a lot of stuff on the floor in my shop. Now I'm going to cut that off. I cut that off as close as I can cut it, so I can still use the rest of that piece on these other holes. I didn't have any extra scrap pieces that I could find in there, so I'm going to use that one piece up until it's gone. Then maybe have to grab another one, I don't know. So we'll move on to that hole next. Knocked it down with a flap disc. As you can see, I've got some little holes, basically pits to fill to make it look perfect. I'm not going to. I'm just going to fill the rest of the holes, and then I'll bevel the edges. There's that one. I went ahead and filled it a little bit. Went ahead and filled that one a little bit too. This is going to be a problem because it doesn't have a tube on the bottom, and that one there, I got to cut that tube off because those two bottom tubes need to be longer because there's no frame on the other side, so they have to take up the space of the frame too to squeeze against the outer plate. So I'll take my template that goes here, my plate that goes on the end of the cross member. I'll put it on here, put some bolts through here, and then I'll flip it over and put a temporary tube on from the other side. Probably what I should do is take a piece of the 3/4 DOM and ream that hole big enough where the tube goes all the way through, weld it in from the top and bottom, then cut it off. Instead of having to do it, put a tube on the bottom, then weld it up, and then take the tube back off. Yeah, so that's what I'll do. I'll open it up where it fits all the way through, and go from there. That's going to be an easier one to fix. Then there's just two more back here and two more there. So let me knock this stuff out and see what we got. Okay, before I do this hole right here, I went and grabbed this plate. This is the plate that goes on the end of the cross member, both ends. Okay, and this plate is very similar to the 65 to 79. In fact, I went and grabbed the 65 to 79, put next to it. As you can see, the top 4 angled holes are the same. Now this is 65 to 79. All 6 of these holes are in the side of the 65 to 79 chassis, and basically those are the holes where the spring pocket was, and it was riveted. Now the rivets are about 7/16 or something like that, so when you take those rivets out, you just got to ream the holes to 1/2 inch, and you can bolt this right in, okay? So that's the difference in this. The problem I had with this was you got that the frame is thinner at the front on this here, so there's a piece of metal that goes between there, so I had to bring these holes down a little bit to match it. Okay, so that's the only difference in that plate, is these holes are further down. Now if I could figure out a way to make these the same, make a slotted hole or something, I would, but I just don't like a slotted hole like that for those two holes there. So I'll just keep it separate plates for now. The front part of this frame that's shaped this way, let me go out to the truck and I'll show you what I'm talking about. I think you already know what I'm talking about though. You see how the frame tapers? It's bigger here at the back and it tapers down at the front. Well, two of them holes, you can see they're right below that, where that bend is, okay? Now, that's the stock location of the chassis, the axle. Okay, so you guys that want to move the axle forward, just let me know, because I'm gonna make a separate CAD drawing that moves that forward as soon as I figure out the exact amount. It'll be 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches, something like that. Whatever the consensus is on the page, we'll go from there. But let me show you the other frame. This is the 65 to 79 frame, see? It stays thick all the way up to the front, okay? And also 6 of those holes are right there, and they're in the same spot, basically. I mean, they're close together at the bottom. So I really couldn't move these holes down to make both of those fit, so it probably look kind of goofy with the piece hanging off the bottom anyway. So that's the reason for the 2 separate plates, but hey, if it works, it works. Okay, so now you kind of see how the frame difference, the shape is. Okay, so the good thing is the 57 to 60 and the 61 to 64 have that same hump like this. Now, I'm not exactly 100% sure yet if the shape is exactly the same. I'll take a template and I'll find out, because my wife's 64 is right out in the parking lot, and we're going to do it right after we do that square body, the 80, I think it's about an 83 F-100. We'll take that 64 apart and do it, and that'll cover the 61 to 64. I'll have to get with somebody that's got a 57 to 60, so we can do theirs too. But anyways, in the meantime, I'll just have to add these tubes here that are a little bit longer on the bottom of this one, and that solves that issue. I originally had this outside plate made with that hump so it matched the frame, but I realized that I need this outside plate to be, well, that's actually the inside plate to be one solid smooth piece, because when I put the piece on from the outside, it'll sandwich it in between with that tube sandwiched in the middle of there. That'll keep that very strong and create a great structure for that. So that's why I changed that, and it's just a matter of changing it in the CAD drawing. Now, I had a couple of people ask me this morning, believe it or not, yeah, early this morning, if the 53 to 56 crossmember kit will be included in the sale, and yes, it will. When I get home tonight, I'll do the CAD drawings to make this fit. Now, this box, I'll make this box separate, okay? There'll be a part line right here somewhere where this can bolt together, and this back piece will be available if you want to buy it. I'm not sure about the front piece, because there's not much, there won't be much past this, okay? Plus, you got all the structure here, and the front cross member is right past this. So I'll see about that, or maybe making a piece that goes from here, from this part line, all the way to that front cross member. If I draw it at a later date, I will include it in the kit either way. So after I don't make the CAD drawing tonight, I will come up here tomorrow and make a template for that front piece and see how I can tie it in. So Let me fix this hole right here and then we'll go through. Okay, here we are on this. I've got plate bolted to the bottom, so that lines that hole up, because those 4 holes, those are tight. I haven't reamed this plate at all, so this plate's, the holes are cut 0.505, so they're pretty tight around the bolt. So I stuck a bolt through here, and basically it was a bolt like that. And then I kind of drew on there about where I need to ream it to. So that's what I'm about to do. And then we'll put the piece on there and go from there. So this is going to be a little tougher. What I'm going to have to do is put a bolt through it. Like that. Hold it from the bottom. I'll have to move this tube up in that hole while holding it with one hand. Then I'll have to tack it with the other. I'll tack it with one side just by melting it together. Then I'll have to put a couple tacks on the other side so it doesn't move around. Then I'll weld it, and I'm sure it will move around, so I'll have to run a reamer down through it. And then I'll have to cut it off from the bottom side. So, let me try that. Alright guys, I was lucky enough to get 3 tacks on it, holding it in place. Yeah, they're all on one side, so. But the bolt fits, goes in, comes out. So, we weld that up. I know it's not going to be straight once I weld it, but I'll ream it. Okay. Got me a tube in there. Got it welded in from the top. Obviously, I need to add some more welds to that because it looks like ass. Then I take this and clean it up, which I'll do all these holes at the same time. I'll weld that up first. But I have run out of time today. It's already after 9 o'clock, so not only have I used my 7 to 8 hour, I've actually started pretty early this morning, about 6:30, so I've actually used 2.5 hours almost today on this. I'm not very far from being done with this, and if I get some time in the afternoon, I will knock this out. If not, tomorrow Saturday, that means I'll be working on this 56 from the morning when I get here at about 6 o'clock, probably all the way until lunchtime at 11, when it usually gets hot. Yes, we're in North Texas, so it will be hotter than summer good. Unless there's some cloud cover and it's not real hot, then I may go back out after lunch and work on it. If not, I'll work on pieces on the inside in here, which means I'll have this jig, this piece of metal that this is bolted to down here. That's my jig for the cross members. Those 2 pieces right there go in the end, and the plate right there bolts to those 2 pieces on this jig to build the cross member here. So I can build the cross member in here, in this room. This is my TIG room. It's got some ACs on the wall to see. Yeah, they're dirty because I have to blow the fan out just about every day. But when you're TIG welding, you can't have any fans on, so I'll turn them fans on when I'm not welding. And then the AC kind of keeps it cooler when I am welding. And that's how we do it. The ACs are ported toward the ceiling so the air doesn't mess up my weld. Anyways, that's it for now. I'll make another video tomorrow. Yes, you guys, with the 56s, the listing for the 53 to 56 narrow cross member will be on the website by tomorrow for you guys to purchase. The other thing, let me add to that, is the new A-shaped arm that eliminates that big arm right there at the back of the control arm. The A-shaped arm will be available for cross members, my cross members first. Okay, because it's easy to adapt it to my cross member. I'm working on a bracket to adapt it to the aluminum cross member, and I'm actually working on a stocked width Crown Vic cross member that's made by me, that eliminates that big bulky aluminum thing, but has the stock dimensions. Because I've had some guys with Dodge trucks, 60s Dodge trucks, that want that stock width. So I'm going to build some of those. I've got to build some stub-in cross members too, but we'll get into that tomorrow when we fill these holes up. Until then now, peace.